Yes, karibu sana to KC University, and we are in a very few minutes we are going to start lobbying, and I have people who are going to be doing that lobbying. They will help you, so they will get in touch with you when they want you to. Okay, so feel free. As soon as we are complete with lobbying, then we'll join the procession.
Thank you.
Thank you. Time for us to join in the procession, and so I request that we go downstairs and then we join. Somebody is going to help us arrange on how we are going to go.
and gentlemen, as we remain outstanding, we will have the national anthem, the East African anthem, and the KCA University alma mater. Thank you very much.
Let's pray. Father, in Jesus' name, we come before Thee with a lot of thanksgiving from the depths of our hearts. Sincerely, we are grateful for this day. We want to invite Your presence, even to start with us, even as we start this ceremony. Thank You, Father, that, Lord, You have gathered each one of us here to come and celebrate together. Even as we welcome Professor Mugenda in the leadership of this university. Father, we are grateful. And so we pray that Your Holy Spirit will be with us, will guide us even now as we start. As we continue on, the praises we shall sing to You, Lord, You shall receive them all. And all the glory and honor will go to You. For we pray in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. God, we thank You for this time we have gathered for this inauguration ceremony. We thank You for good health of each of us. It is for Your mercy we have made it, O God. Allah, You are the King, and we thank You for leadership skills upon all leaders of KCA University. We thank You for the leadership of the outgoing Chancellor, and we are welcoming our new Chancellor, Professor Olive Mugenda. Bless her and make her a useful person during her time in this university. Do not let her fall into challenges and trials of wrongdoers. Save her by Your mercy, O God. We love her, and we are happy with her appointment to KCA University. O Allah, cover this congregation with Your mercy. Make our departure after this meeting be not sinful, and not make amongst us deprived or wretched persons. In the name of Allah we pray. Amen.
We'll invite the Vice Chancellor, KCA University, to constitute the Assembly.
On the powers conferred on me by the KCA University Charter, I now declare this Assembly constituted.
Thank you very much, the Vice Chancellor. I now invite the DVC, Academic Affairs, to introduce the members of the party and do a brief of KCA.
God is good.
All the time.
And all the time.
God is good and that is
Yes, and now I want to take this opportunity to welcome you all to this inauguration ceremony. But before I begin, I would want to introduce the members of the platform party. For the members, please, when I call your name, you stand, and please remain standing until all guests have been introduced. For the audience, I wish you hold your applause until all members have been introduced. Professor Philip Kimeli Mayo, who is the Vice Chancellor, Baraton University. Professor Koso Goody, DVC, Baraton University. Professor Mumo Kisao, Vice Chancellor, Scott Christian University. Professor Orubai, Member, University Council, KCA University Council. Professor Mugenda, the incoming Chancellor, KCA University. Nancy Matim, Vice Chair, KCA University Council. Philip Wahome, Corporate Communications Manager, MultiChoice. Professor Arthur Eshiwani, the outgoing Chancellor, KCA University. Reverend Cyrus Karaoke, Provost of All Saints of Qatar. Dr. Andrew Muley, Board of Trustees, KCA University. Clara Suka from ABSA. Evelyn Rusweti from ABSA. Dr. Mary Mutugi from USIU. Dr. Joe Mochekeo, the former Board of Trustees, KCA University. Mike Heldon, Chair, KCA University Council. Alice Mayaka, Lecturer, University of Nairobi. Bernard Mukundi, Chair of the Alumni Board, KCA University. Abdallah Omar, Principal Imam, the National Youth Service. Ethnic Mutinda, Strategic Advisor, ICDL. Professor Helen Mwanzi from University of Nairobi. Annie Malawa, member, the KCA Alumni Association. Dr. Benson Wailegi, Chancellor, Kenyatta University. Professor Maurice Okoth, Vice Chancellor, Kenya Methodist University. FCPA Rose Mwaura, Chair, ISPAC, Chair of the Council of the ISPAC. Stephen Ogogo, Head of Education, ACCA Kenya. Professor Chopley Muruvi, Vice Chancellor, Southeastern Kenya University. Professor Gravanea, DVC Research, Kenyatta University. Dr. Joseph Metet, member, KCA University Council. CPA Evelyn Murioki, KCA University Council. The outgoing Chancellor, Professor Arthur Ishwani, the incoming Chancellor, Professor Oliver Mugenda, members of the ISPAC Council, members of the KCA Board of Trustees and the Council members present, the KCA University Vice Chancellor, Professor Noah Midamba, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings and welcome to this inaugural ceremony at KCA University. Today's function marks a major milestone for KCA University. It also emphasizes the fact that KCA is a brand. It's not an abbreviation. We are at KCA University, not Kenya College of Accountants University. The richness of the KCA brand did not just happen. It has taken efforts, imaginations, and work of many, dating back to May 1989, when the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya, ISPAC, decided to create the Kenyan College of Accountants. 18 years later, in 2007, the college was upgraded to a university and retained the brand and was awarded charter in March 2013 as KCA University. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to appreciate the fact that since then, the university has experienced tremendous growth, both qualitatively and quantitatively. I only wish to mention just a few, perhaps obvious ones. The first one, the student population has grown from under 7,000 in 2013 to now over 13,000 in 2019. An increase of about 100%. As of November 2019, a total of 14,000, at least over 14,000 have graduated with various degrees from KCA University. And we still have an alumni population which is growing, both quantitatively in number and the level of engagement with their alma mater. The other area of growth is in course offering and the curriculum expansion. In 2013, the university had only 13 programs that were accredited by the Commission for University Education. By 2019, we had expanded our offerings to 35 accredited programs, an increase of 169%. These programs spread across departments, housed in 4 schools and faculties, namely the School of Business and Public Management, the Faculty of Computing and Information Management, the Faculty of Education, Arts and Sciences, and the Special Professional Programs. From these offerings, it can be noticed that there has been deliberate efforts to diversify our programs from predominantly business curriculum to include technology, art, and humanity courses. That, however, does not necessarily mean that KCA University is shifting from its focus on business. Indeed, KCA University's mission differentiated remains to be a top business university in Kenya and beyond. Already, part of the vision has been realized through signature programs which are unique not only in Africa but in the world, such as the MSc in Development Finance. It's however important to note that mission differentiated is not the same as specialization. At KCA University, we have embarked on establishing the core curriculum to ensure that our graduates, regardless of their specialization, are effective communicators through writing and speaking. We refer to that in our strategic plan as WASC, WSC, which means writing across the curriculum, and SPAC, SPAC, speaking across the curriculum. We also want to make sure that our graduates are critical thinkers, analytical, digitally proficient, and most importantly, are people of high integrity. And so the curriculum, the core curriculum, is one which we ensure that all students, regardless of their major, have these attributes. We at KCA University recognize that these attributes are strong predictors of employability, regardless of one's major. This is what represents our view of student success. Our overall focus is on student success. We make sure our students have the best experience at KCA University, are fully engaged while on and off campus, and are well-rounded. The end result of these efforts is a high rate of employability among our graduates, as was reflected in the 2016 Council report. Ladies and gentlemen, the list of our achievements, our plans, and our dreams can go on and on, then we have time to share. But I wish to assure you that the future of KCA University is bright through the very speedy execution of our 2019-2023 strategic plan, which is anchored on 4 strategic pillars of academic excellence, student engagement, technology integration, and sustainability. Execution of this strategic plan has already begun. One key aspect of this implementation is the establishment of the Center for Faculty Excellence. The center focuses to empower faculty to be effective teachers, productive researchers, and effective academic leaders. We do believe that a strong faculty will lead to strong programs and high levels of student success. The primary focus of the center is captured by its slogan: for faculty, by faculty, and for the benefit of students and faculty. This center, together with the Center for Entrepreneurship and Leadership and the Center for Career Planning and Placement, will go a long way to achieve our vision of student success. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the faculty, staff, and students at KCA University, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to you for taking the time away from your busy schedule to join us for this inauguration ceremony. The purpose of the function is very, very simple. To appreciate Professor Ada Eshiwani for the tremendous service to KCA University as the founding Chancellor, and also witness him passing the baton to the second University Chancellor, with Professor Prof. Mugenda taking over from Professor Ada Eshiwani. We see nothing but prospects for continuous improvement at KCA University. Thank you very much for choosing to be part of this ceremony, and may God bless you.
The Chairman, Board of Trustees, SPA Michael Oweru, the incoming Chancellor, Professor Olive Mugenda, the outgoing Chancellor, Professor Ada Eshiwani, the Chairman, University Council, Mike Eldon, the Member of University Council President, Vice Chancellor, Professor Noah Midamba, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Joshua Bagakas. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Let me take this opportunity on behalf of KCA University students to congratulate Professor Olive Mugenda on her appointment as the second KCA University Chancellor. As students, we believe that with your guidance, KCA University is going even to greater milestones, not only in academics, but also in other areas. We are aware of your exemplary leadership, having served as Kenyatta University Chancellor. The enviable transformation that Kenyatta University underwent during your tenure is a self-evidence. We humbly request you accord us the same. Our outgoing Chancellor, Professor Ada Eshiwani, I thank you for your service. Your commitment and dedication toward KCA University will never be forgotten. May Almighty God bless you. Let me finish by saying, welcome to KCA University, our new Chancellor, Professor Olive Mugenda. May God bless you and God bless KCA University.
Thank you very much for that. Let me take this opportunity to invite the chairperson, KCA University alumni, to make his remarks.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. May I recognize the Council of University, led by Mike Holden, the Board of Trustees, our outgoing Dad, Chancellor Professor Eshiwani. Welcome our incoming Chancellor, Prof. Mugenda, Professor. Our visiting Chancellors and Vice Chancellors, the members of faculty, our Vice Chancellor, Professor Midamba, management, our students, our entire alumni, wherever they are. I hear we are streaming live on Facebook, and my members are not here. They are all over across the world. So we want to appreciate, and they say that we are great, happy to be here today. There are two things that I would like to talk about, and it's about the culture. And we as African, we have our own culture. And we are very delighted that today we are seeing a handover of our great friend, of our alumni, a great friend of university, who is handing over to another great friend of the same university. We are really grateful to that. Our dad, Professor Eshiwani, we have worked with him for the last 7 years when the alumni was inaugurated, the alumnization of KCA University. And as he leaves, he is leaving a very good legacy, an inheritance, which I know our mom, Professor Olive Mugenda, is going to take over. And we know as women, they are very good at articulating and growing the small seeds that have been left behind. And I know Professor Olive Mugenda is going to do that. We want to tell you that you're not going to start a new farm. The farm is already there. We just need to till a little bit, and we want to grow the seeds. As a alumni association, we have already started adopting several chapters. to make sure that we continue to engage with our students, with our alumni as they graduate. And that's why we have Kisumu chapter, which is covering the whole of the Western Kenya. What we mean by these chapters is that anytime you go, I wanted to say to fly, because people fly from KC University, isn't it? When you fly to Western side, and you're working those sites, you have an office in KCA University, Kisumu campus, where you can congregate. Recently, we were at Kitengera campus, and we want to continue opening chapters. We are also going to very soon have chapters across the world, because we know KCA University graduates people not only from Kenya or from this region, but across the world. So we want everywhere you fly, everywhere you go and meet a KCA University office. Professor Mugenda, we are not doing this on chit chat. We already have a strategic plan that we have put in place. We're just waiting for next week to come and we launch it. But we've already started implementing some bits of this. This strategic plan has 3 aspirations. One is to engage, secondly to learn, and also to grow. We want to engage our alumni, we want to learn with them, we want to grow with them. Very soon, I think I can be allowed to disclose here, we are going to have the first alumni circle, which is going to grow from just being a circle and probably to be a financial institution in the future. Because we know as a business university, we are growing and we are having students graduating, but they don't have the capital to start their business. We want them to join the circle. That's from that circle they can be able to put retro savings, and when they graduate, they have enough capital to move on. Professor Bagaka mentioned about growth, and indeed, we are also growing as an alumni. When we started in 2013, and where we are heading, we envisioned that we are going to be having around 20,000 very active members of alumni. What are they going to do with this membership? Is to make sure that we grow the university in its attributes, in all the spheres. We know the university needs infrastructure. We are ready as alumni to support. The university needs faculty. We are there as alumni to support. The university also needs good branding in terms of good students that graduate. We as the alumni association, we are there, and that's why we strive every day to make sure that wherever we work, whatever we do, we are giving the best, and we stand to be counted. Integrity is part of our core, and that's why all alumni, wherever they work, they are upholding integrity. So we want to welcome Professor Olive Mugenda and say that you are actually coming to an old farm, a farm that already has enough for you to start harvesting. We just want to propose and give you the commitment that the alumni is going to be with you, work with you, hard by hard, step by step, and ensure that we get to the greatness that this university envisions to be. Our outgoing Vice Chancellor, we are also grateful for the growth and the way you have brought us together as alumni. We have so many leaders in this university that has helped us in one or the other to be where we are. Because of time, allow me to stop there and say thank you and congratulations and welcome to our university family. Thank you.
We've just decided the morning that everything that comes in KC University is best in Eastern. So turn to your neighbor, tell them you are the best in East and Central Africa.
You are the best in East and Central Africa.
So I'm introducing the best club in East and Central Africa called Drama Club. Wapi makelele yako?
Shaka
At this point, ladies and gentlemen, it is my humble duty to invite the Vice Chancellor.
Thank you very much, Professor. It is wonderful to see you, Reverend Johan Kim of IYS, who's been able to take many of our staff and our students to South Korea. And in partnership, we are teaching mind game mindset. We are very proud to have that. It is simply wonderful to see so many of you here today for the installation of Professor Olive Mugenda as our second Chancellor. We're grateful to have with us the Chairman of our Board of Trustees, FCPA Michael Waweru, ISPAC Chairperson, FCPA Rose Maura, who will have a major role this afternoon to play in this ceremony. Our outgoing Chancellor, Professor Arthur Aswani, who is a really dear friend of this university, and our University Council members, outstanding members, led by Sir Michael Eldon. It is great to see all of you here at the back. We're grateful to have our corporate partners, United Nations. They were supposed to be here today. Among the podium guests, of course, including our great alumni team, who has been most active this past year and this year. And you're making a difference for Kenya people. Please give them a hand. I want you also to give a rousing hand to our student choir team, which can sing in all languages in Kenya. You're fantastic. And we also want to thank our National Police Band that can play different items of they were great, isn't it? Fellow Vice Chancellors, and today there were supposed to be 40 Vice Chancellors out of 70 universities. So you can believe it, that these folks are really partners of KCA University, and that all the Vice Chancellors have all come together to be proud and make Kenya proud. So I'm so grateful to see you sitting here in front of us. This is a wonderful day. Professor Mumo Kisau had to run to Oslo, but he was here early, and we also hope that he will do well. Professor Laban Ayiro, what I want to say is so many Vice Chancellors sent wonderful congratulatory messages to us. And I just want to read two of them that represent all what they had to say. Professor Laban Ayiro, Vice Chancellor, Destra University, said, "Prof, I envy your university choice for Chancellor position. It is heartening to spot merit being afflicted." Professor Paul Wanaina, Vice Chancellor, Kenyatta University, had this to say: "Professor Midamba, on behalf of Kenyatta University fraternity, I wish to commend you and your management team for the milestone you have made in establishing KCA University as a higher education institution of national and international repute. Let us give a rousing applause to our faculty, staff, and students who are led by our champion staff, Patricia Opande, Human Resource and Director of Strategic Communication, who made all this arrangement possible for us. The universities, as we know today, was founded 1,000 years ago by a woman from Morocco called Fatuma. It takes an average over 100 years for any university to fully mature. While KCA was founded as Kenya College of Accountancy 30 years ago, the university received its interim charter only 13 years ago. Today's installation for our second chancellor is about two occurrences in all institutional development: the person being installed and the new leader, and more importantly, the state and the future of the university itself. We realize that pedaling a bicycle alone will not get us somewhere. Reaching a desired destination will require hands, eye, and foot coordination for us to reach our ultimate objective. Let me just take a few minutes, therefore, to outline what we call our bold aspiration. We're charting a deliberate path toward being recognized as one of the top-tier private universities in Kenya. And as among the best schools, the best business schools in the continent of Africa. We have therefore developed an integrated strategic plan 2019-23, which includes academic master plan, enrollment management plan, facilities master plan, alumni plan, resident life plan, and technical education and training master plan. The integrated strategic plan is anchored on 4 pillars like Professor Joshua Bagaga enumerated earlier: academic excellence, student engagement, technology integration, and lastly, sustainability. There are 5 elements that frame our future pillars. First, to transform our institutional infrastructure real estate holding into educational sustainability. Second, we need to continue and indeed accelerate our long-term journey to building academic excellence, a growing tradition of scholarship of teaching and scholarship of discovery. Third, we need to think locally, but engage globally. The intensity of our partnership development around the world, the region, and government, business, community enterprises will help nurture our sense of place. Our students, as much as our academic staff, need to feel that they are part of the international community of scholars. Fourth, in driving growth in both scale and quality, we need to maintain and enhance distinctive identity, which the university now begins to enjoy. Finally, in providing new opportunity to our students, we need to inculcate in them an ethos that they have the responsibility of giving back to the society. Let me end with a personal story. Since our independence in Kenya, we have used a system called JAP to place students in our university. The students were given subject assignment and told what institutions to go to. In the early morning of 1991, I was teaching at Colorado Air Force Academy for the University of Denver in USA. Then my father called me at about 5:30 a.m. And usually when my father called at 5:30, I know there's something big going on. To ask if I could find a university that teaches aeronautic engineering for his friend Magaria's daughter. I have known Mr. Magaria since primary school days in Nairobi. We live in Westland, and he used to deliver charcoal to our home. My father said, treat this matter very urgently because Magaria's daughter tried to commit suicide twice because she was placed at Moi University to study history. There's nothing wrong with history, but you must better make a choice to study history. I had at that time already secured a new job at Kent State University in Ohio. Kent as a pilot training school, so we quickly arranged for the young lady to come to the US to study at Kent State University. She was extremely a bright student. So with the help of my colleagues at Colorado Air Force Academy, we quickly secured admission at Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is one of the leading schools in aeronautic engineering in the world. This girl went on to complete her bachelor degree, her master degree, and her PhD in aeronautic study. She has worked, thank you. She has worked for all Air Force and space-related companies in America. Martin Marietta, Boeing Company, and NASA. Recently, Rose was appointed, and this is a big one, people. Rose was appointed by Trump administration as a senior engineer for the new Space Command and given full citizen of the United States. In 2011, when I was invited to speak by Margaret Kumar to speak to vice chancellors and chairs of public universities. I recommended a change in policy in the student admission to university from that of job to placement by student choice. This proposal created a major national debate. The policy was eventually adopted in 2016 by the order of President Kenyatta. And ladies and gentlemen, this year KCA University will have more than 7,000 government-sponsored students who have chosen to come to KCA University. I am happy, ladies and gentlemen, to report that our incoming Chancellor, Professor Mugenda, was one of the few public university vice chancellors who supported this policy from the beginning. May God bless you all, and may God bless our Republic of Kenya. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to invite the following people in order of priority. The chairperson, FCA Rose Mwaura, and that will be followed by our council chair, Sir Mike Eldon, and that will be followed by Dr. Benson Waregi, and finally, a speech by Professor Arthur Asuan. Okay.
The Chairman, Board of Trustees, FCPA Michael Waweru, and all the trustees who are present with us today, to the outgoing Chancellor, Professor Shiwani, and the incoming Chancellor, Professor Mugenda, the University Council Chairman, Mike Eldon, and members of Council who are present with us today, to the Vice Chancellor, Professor Noah Midamba, members of the University Senate, the visiting Chancellors and Vice Chancellors from other universities, the University Management, the CEO, Council for University Education, all the university partners, members of ISPAC, all invited guests, and most important of all, the reason we're here, our dear students. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
30 years ago, the founders of ISPAC believed that it was very, very important to have a college that was focused on business and finance training. And this saw the beginnings of KCA University when they set up KCA, Kenya College of Accountancy. And I remember I was one of the beneficiaries because at that point in time, I was at the University of Nairobi, at the Lower Kabete campus, and I would take the bus in the evening after my classes, and I'd come to the KCA college in Westlands for my CPA classes. I wanted to take my CPA ahead. So I'm one of the beneficiaries of these universities from the very, very humble beginning. Being the founders of KCA University, we at the Institute are delighted at the milestones that KCA University has achieved over the years. I have to say that we stand on the shoulders of the Institute founding members who saw it fitting to actually acquire this piece of land many, many years ago. And for those of you who might not have part of that history, members of ISPAC actually contributed money from their own pockets to actually put a down payment to buy this land. I think it was then owned by Barclays Bank, and they were moving out of this space. This Standard Chartered, by Standard Chartered, and they were moving out of this space. And our founding fathers believed it was very important that we at the Institute actually secure some space. And eventually that space then became the beginnings of KCA University, and we're very grateful, and we say that we stand on their shoulders, because if they had not had that foresight, we would not be where we are today. Let us give them a hearty. KCA University has achieved quite a number of milestones. I think you had the Vice Chancellor and the Deputy Vice Chancellor earlier talking about the expanded academic opportunities and for research as well in Kenya and beyond. And we at ISPAC continue to support this and to explore any synergies to ensure that KCA University is positioned as the best business and technology university, not only in Kenya, but globally as well. Let us not aim for just being the best private university in business and technology, but let us aim to be the best business and technology university in Kenya and in Africa and globally. I want to express my appreciation to the KCA University Board of Trustees through the very able leadership of FCPA Michael Waweru for finding it worthy to select from amongst very many other qualified Kenyans, Professor Olive Mugenda as a second Chancellor for our university. I also want to thank all the KCA university staff, led by the Vice Chancellor, Professor Midamba, for embracing and warmly welcoming the incoming Chancellor, Professor Mugenda. I have no doubt in my mind that Professor Mugenda, as strong and committed as she has always been, will give us her very best as she joins this team of very focused and able visionary leaders at KCA University. She has demonstrated that before, and we will be asking her to do the same here. And I believe with her support and her commitment that we will take this university to greater heights. As you're all aware, Professor Mugenda is not new to she's not new to higher education. She has served for very many years in academic leadership, and she has also become one of the most successful vice chancellors that this country has ever produced. And her footprints are quite visible at Kenyatta University, where she had an admirable career for quite a number of years as the vice chancellor. We're happy that Professor Mugenda is familiar with the higher education opportunities, operations, as well as challenges that generally face universities. She therefore really has an idea of what is expected of her as a chancellor, and we also expect her to use her networks for resource mobilization as well. I also want to emphasize that we at ISPAC, we are cognizant and we're aware of the many challenges that are facing higher education in Kenya today. Generally, the number of students in universities has gone down. I think we all call it the Matiang'i effect, but perhaps it was just a correction of when things had gone wrong. However, the good thing is that because of the high quality of education at our university, the number of our students has continued to grow. And this, of course, has had a major impact on our infrastructure. And as the founders of this university, I want to pledge that we will work together with the Chancellor, with the Vice Chancellor, and the management of the university to support the university as we critically look at how to develop our infrastructure and how to improve that infrastructure in this area, so that we can continue to attract the best and the brightest of young people and those who are seeking training in business and technology. We realize that the path we're charting for KCA University actually requires a concerted and dedicated effort from everyone who is involved in the running of this institution for a better future. The strengths and opportunities available to this university must be nurtured and fully exploited in the face of the challenges that we face. And I want to challenge the BOT, the Board of Trustees, the Governing Council, the university management to continue to look at new ways and strategies to respond to these challenges in a way that will guarantee sustainability of the university in the future. You've been told universities take over 100 years to mature. So whereas, how many years, 13, we're still a baby, we're a toddler, isn't it? So we want to be able to nurture our university. As I conclude, I want to take this opportunity to appreciate and congratulate the outgoing Chancellor, Professor Arthur Eshiwani. As the first Chancellor of the university, he has demonstrated his selfless leadership and dedicated work for the many years that he has served at the KCA University. He has indeed set a good precedence for us to emulate. Let us please give him a round of applause. Thank you very much, Professor Eshiwani. We really appreciate your commitment to the university and the amount of effort and dedication that you put into the university to bring it to where it is from when it was founded. I want to thank you all for listening to me, and I want to take this opportunity to welcome Professor Mugenda into the KCA University family. Thank you all. May God bless KCA University to greater heights. Thank you.
I served on the Council of the Kenya Education Management Institute with Oli Mugenda when she was Vice Chancellor of Kenyatta University. She was my chairperson. I was the chair of the Strategy and Business Development Committee, and we worked so well together, and I so admired her style of leadership and the contributions she made to Kemi. We were sad when her term ended. She carried on, of course, with an illustrious career, and it was interesting, I was talking to her just this afternoon before we came over here, that she's going back to Iowa, where she was a student for much of her formal education, master's, PhD, and so forth, in the 80s. I went to Iowa in the 1960s when I was an ISEC intern there with Quaker Oats in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So I have a good relationship with Iowa, and it's why I'm so keen that we start that ISEC chapter here at KCA. I know the healthy culture of Iowa, so I'm sure that a lot of Olive's positivity and cheerfulness comes from that Midwestern exposure. Since we parted ways at Kemi, I also was invited by Olive, who's one of the founders of the Center for Innovation, Leadership and Governance, to participate in one of her programs for university leaders. It was a very lively program for vice chancellors and the like, and it was interesting the topic or topics she chose for me to cover. Just imagine what you would be saying about this trio of topics to a group of leading academics. I was asked to talk about partnerships, networks, and internationalization. A nice challenge. Thank you, Olive. Of course, I am delighted, we are delighted, that the trustees have selected her to take over from Arthur Eshiwani. She will add great value. So I want to welcome Olive Mugenda to this very healthy culture of KCA. You've heard a lot from Naomi Damba, from Joshua Vargakas, about our strategy, about how we're strengthening our faculty and adding great value to our students so that when they go out in the world, they're really ready for tomorrow's world. And it is because we have a healthy culture that supports the strategy. We all know Peter Drucker saying that culture is strategy for breakfast. Well, here we don't have to worry about one or the other. We eat culture and we eat strategy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It is because of this that we keep on growing and indulging in this continuous improvement. Olive Mugenda will be very much part of that continuous improvement. Before I close, normally at the commencement, I'm privileged to have the Chancellor speak after me. So for the last several years, I have had Professor Arthur Eshiwani speak after me. And it has been my privilege to introduce him. I'm not introducing him today, but I just want to say from my part, we heard him described as Dad. That's what he's been. He's been a mentor to so many. We'll be celebrating him this evening. I will be talking at greater length about our dear friend Arthur this evening at a special event to honor him. But right now, in this grouping, I just want to applaud Arthur for the great value he's added with such humility, with such grace, with such cheerfulness to KCA University. So thank you, Arthur, and hello, Olive.
The Chairman of the Board of Trustees, FCPA, Michael Avero, and my good friend, ISPAC Chairperson, Rose Mwaura, Council members, members of the Board of Trustees of KCA University, both past and current, the outgoing Chancellor, Professor Arthur Eshiwani, and Chancellor's representatives, the incoming Chancellor and my good friend, Professor Olive Mugenda, KCA Council Chairman, Mike Eldon, and members of the Council, the Vice Chancellor of KCA University, Professor Noah Migamba, Vice Chancellors of other universities, members of the Management Board and University Senate, the CEO of the Council of University Education, the Chairman of Alumni Association and members, students, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. As you heard, my name is Benson Wairegi. I'm the Chancellor of Kenyatta University, where Professor Olive Mugenda spent her entire life, both as a student, but also as an administrator, including Vice Chancellor of that famous and big university. So I can say a lot about her, and I want to thank the KCA University management for inviting me to speak not on behalf of Kenyatta University, but on behalf of all the chancellors of public universities in this country. Thank you very much for the honor. I can say a lot about Professor Olive Mugenda, but I think we don't have the time to do that. And even before I say whatever little I need to say, let me, on a personal note, say something. I am a member of the accounting profession. So when we talk about ISPAC, and by the way, Rose, I am a full member of ISPAC and in good standing. So when you talk about 30 years ago, when the then chairman of ISPAC, Dr. Martin Oduor-Otieno, decided to acquire the then premises for Standard Chartered and call it KCA Center, I was already a member of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants having qualified in 1979. And Martin reached out to me and said he had this idea of acquiring this piece of land, but there was no money, and he wanted to know whether it was a good idea. And I responded to him and I said, Martin, this is an excellent idea. Your problem is going to be how you fund the acquisition. And of course, he went ahead together with the council of the Institute, got a loan, and got us members of the Institute to pay a levy. So looking back on that period 30 years ago, I'm very happy that the council of the Institute took that decision, because were it not for that decision, we would not be standing here today. So, Rose, taken over from all those previous leaders, Michael Awero, and all the others, Amos Kemunya and many others, and I want to congratulate the founding fathers of this university for the excellent work that you have done, and for the continuing members of the university management. So, as I now make my remarks, I would like to thank all of you for inviting me to this ceremony, university management, and also the members of the audience for taking your time to come and attend this great occasion on a very hot Friday afternoon. It's a great day that we have come to witness and to celebrate and welcome our new Chancellor, Professor Olive Mugenda. I'm very pleased to really speak on behalf of the Chancellors of public universities. And I would like to say that over the many years that I've been associated with universities, because I got my first association with universities in 2010, when I became the chairman of Kenyatta University Council, not even a chancellor, I've had very many occasions to speak at graduation ceremonies and other ceremonies associated with academia. But this is the only opportunity that I've had the privilege to perform and to speak at the inauguration of a chancellor. Of course, Olive will remember that when I became chairman of council at Kenyatta University, we had the occasion to inaugurate another chancellor, but we weren't quite sure how to do it, because our chancellor happened to be the president of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Mwai Kibaki. So we concocted a procedure where Olive was going to stand by my side, and the two of us were going to robe him and declare him the Chancellor of Public Kenyatta University, because we needed a chancellor to award and confer degrees and diplomas. So yes, that was a unique event, but this is the one that I have been actually invited to preside and to attend, and not so much preside, but speak on behalf of public university chancellors. And I really want to thank you once again, Professor Mugenda, for giving me this opportunity. As you heard me say, I was appointed chairman of Kenyatta University Council sometime in 2010, and at that time Professor Mugenda was already the Vice Chancellor. I wouldn't tell you how I ended up in her office, or how first of all she ended up in mine to come and inform me about the appointment as chairman of the council. But what I can tell you is I worked with Professor Mugenda for a good 6 years. First, as chairman of the council in the period 2010 to 2013. And then when the university charter and university statutes were amended, I was appointed Chancellor of Kenyatta University, and therefore somebody else got appointed as Chairman of the Council. So I can speak with authority, I can speak with personal knowledge about Professor Mugenda. And I want to commend the Board of Trustees of this university for the wise selection that you have made. I know you did all your due diligence. I know none of you called me to ask me about my views, but I'm happy to say that you made a good choice. Well done. Professor Mugenda is a visionary leader. She is transformative. Prior to her appointment as Vice Chancellor of Kenyatta University, Kenyatta University was a public university like any other. But her mobilization efforts, her discipline, her focus on what matters, her focus on the big picture, transformed that university. And I remember when I physically entered that university in 2010, driving from the main gate on Thika Superhighway to the administration offices, I remember commenting to one person who was sitting next to me, this is a real university. The beautiful lawns, the beautiful buildings, well painted, the discipline among the students, you could feel it. And that continued all the way to 2016 when she completed her 2-year term and left the university. I have no intention of diminishing the role of the subsequent leadership that took over, because it has also done a fantastic job. But I won't be wrong in saying that Kenyatta University continues to survive and to operate and benefit from the leadership that Professor Olive Mugenda put in place at Kenyatta University over her 6-year term. Even the current Vice Chancellor is himself a product of Olive Mugenda. So, congratulations once again, Professor. So you are transitioning from a Vice Chancellor to a Chancellor. I think that's a big jump. But many of you will probably not be aware of the role of a Chancellor in a public university. If you look at the Universities Act, the role of a Chancellor of a public university is very simple. He or she is a titular head. It's just a title. I think that's what titular means. And all you are required to do is to attend the graduation ceremony, confer degrees and diplomas by reading that famous paragraph that I give you power to read and to do that appertains to this degree, and disappear. But I noticed that in private universities, and KCA is one such, the role of a chancellor is much more than that. So without saying what it involves, because I'm not very conversant with the role of a chancellor in a private university, and more particularly KCA, I can say that, Professor Mugenda, you have a huge responsibility ahead of you. But from your administrative experience as Vice Chancellor, you are best equipped to deliver on that responsibility. So I believe you will work with the administration with the Vice Chancellor, with the Board of Trustees, to bring all those skills that you acquired as Vice Chancellor of Kenyatta University into this private university that is growing so fast, that is operating in a very important space, technology and business education. And I have no doubt in my mind that KCA will be the better for your experience. I want therefore to end my speech by once again congratulating you, being aware of the fact that apart from your public duties as a member of the Judicial Service Commission, as a mother, and your other roles as an academic, one of the other roles I know you are very good at is mentorship. So those of you who are based here will find a lot of value in engaging with Professor Mugenda for mentorship, for coaching. I have personally benefited from her mentorship, her coaching, because I've worked all my life in the private sector. And let me add, because this is also an opportunity to do some commercials, I work for Financial Services Group, Britain Holdings PLC, and had it not been for Professor Olive Mugenda, with the mentorship that she has given me, I would not be the person I am today. So personally, I want to thank you for what you've been to me, and I hope the staff, both academic and non-academic, from KCA will also benefit from that aspect of your personality. With those few remarks, I want to commend KCA University Council for the concerted efforts exhibited in steering and managing the affairs of this university. We, as public university chancellors, extend our appreciation for the good and harmonious governance practiced by the council, the vice chancellor and management of this university, and hope that under the new leadership of Professor Mugenda, you will continue to build on the work that Professor Ishwani has built here. And let me, by the way, add Professor Ishwani, we go a long way back. You taught me corporate governance many years ago, so thank you very much. And so therefore, I want to conclude by my remarks by wishing KCA University the very best as you seek to grow this university and make it one of the greatest universities, not just in Kenya, not just in East Africa, but across the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wedegi. Let me announce again that we are streaming live on Facebook at KCA University Official. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to recognize the presence of Mr. Hashim Mohammed, CEO, Utalii College. Former Board of Trustees member, FCPA John Kabiru. CPA Charles Rungera, CEO, Higher Education Loans Board. Professor Erastus Joka, Vice Chancellor, Chuka University. Professor Jenga Munene, Zetek University. Ladies and gentlemen, for the sake of housekeeping, we have guest washrooms behind this tent. At this point, it's my humble duty to invite the outgoing Chancellor, Professor Ada Eshiwani, and I request kindly please rise up as we welcome Professor Adam.
Can I tell them to be seated? Please be seated. It is quite a difficult day for me, but at the same time, a very joyous day because I am going home. Going home to sleep a little bit longer in the morning without worrying that there is a meeting at KCA, and also to relax and eat a lot because in the course of time I have missed those joys. But that is not the way I have planned to start addressing this tremendous big congregation. So let me be formal. I have perhaps 2 or 3 points to make in the circumstances of time that has been allocated to me. So may I start with my first point of salutations. I am compelled not to use that phrase "and all protocols observed." I don't want to observe protocols because there are so many people who have come to honor this occasion that I would like to mention, some of them by title, some of them by office, and some even by name. Let me start, of course, by saying the chairman of the board of trustees of KCA University, our incoming Chancellor, Professor Mugenda, the very distinguished academicians that have left their very busy places, busy universities, some of them not near here, to come. The chancellors, the vice chancellors, may I mention you by office, and the deputies that were sent. I want to heartily appreciate your having come to grace this occasion. We don't take it lightly. You are very busy people. You would have done better things as opposed to coming and just to grace the occasion. I want to say, in my tribe, they say, a person who comes during your mother's funeral and comes in the morning, when it occurs to him, you should also do that. When it will happen that you also have an occasion like this, we shall arrive in the morning and we shall gladly grace the occasion because it gives us the sense of joy that our friends, our colleagues, and our professional fraternity have come and joined us. So I want to recognize you, academicians, for having come. I have many other people also to recognize. I do recognize the chairperson of ISPAC Council, the people that actually originated my journey into what I am relinquishing today. The chairperson, thank you for having come, because during my stay here at KCA, I never had an opportunity to see a chairperson come on an occasion like this, but of course they came on other occasions. I want to appreciate you and say thank you. Thank you, Rose, for coming. I can't forget the Vice Chancellor of KCA, Professor Noah Midamba, the man with whom I have worked closely. And as Dr. Wairegi said, yes, the position of Chancellor is titular. You just do the degree thing. I give you the power to read and if possible misunderstand or understand, and then I go home. But as I discovered, and I would like to alert my successor that the situation is different when you are talking about private universities. There are occasions when you must come and ask yourself, am I now serving as a titular chancellor or something else? And you must serve. You must find a solution. So I want to recognize my Vice Chancellor, Professor Midamba,
with whom we have worked tightly, together with his deputy, Professor Bagakas, and of course the management of this university. I have so many friends, I hope not enemies, among the academic circles, as well as those who do the administration. I might even have been a nuisance to some people in their various offices who wondered, what was I coming to do since I'm titular? But there you are, as we say in law, I had to do what I had to do in the circumstances. In my salutations, of course, I cannot forget the people that make this university what it is, the core stakeholders, and those are our students. I also have friends among those students because I had, on a number of occasions, to go down and talk to the students through their organizations in order to be better informed and to understand the core of the issues that sometimes came up. I want to say, students, thank you very much for according me respect that sometimes I did not deserve. You have treated me so kindly. I'm still a teacher at a university in this country, and I'm telling you the students there are very rough. I think they have seen so many professors, and they are even tired of professors. You can easily have a stone landing on your head if you are not careful, but that was not the position here at KCA. I therefore want to appreciate the manner in which you transacted with me, and I hope I made a contribution to your well-being in this university. Therefore, I want to say thank you as my opening in terms of the protocol. Whatever else I have not touched in the protocol, it is not minor, but it is not unintended. Time may not allow me. Therefore, I would like to come to my main point. I am here today to do two things: to participate in the installation of my successor, Professor Olive Mugenda. And then number two, to thank the KCA community and say kwaheri, because from this evening I'm going home, as I've said earlier. So may I welcome my successor, Professor Olive Mugenda, and you have heard so much about her that I don't need to repeat myself. Time does not even allow. I have met Professor Mugenda briefly. That particular day, we were getting charters from the then President Mwai Kibaki. We shook hands, but little did we know that she would be my successor. That time I was Chancellor, and that time she was Vice Chancellor at Kenyatta University. What a coincidence that today she is succeeding me. And when I was looking at the progression of Professor Mugenda, I noted something. At Kenyatta University, she succeeded a relative of mine by the name George Eshwan. And here she is, succeeding another Eshwani. Destiny has put us together, Professor, and even when I am gone, I will still come to visit you because destiny has put us together. And I am very proud, and from the very beginning, when it was mooted, and I was involved in the moot, in the search for my success. A number of names were mentioned by the chairman of the BOT, and I said, I have no authority to dictate to anyone, but this particular name, and it happened to be the name of Olive Mugenda. It speaks a lot, and this would be the right choice. But excuse me Mr. Chairman of the BOT, I'm not dictating any choice to you. I'm glad when he went to consult, other people out there agreed with him and agreed with me also. And I'm so glad to hand the baton to a person of the stature, knowledge and experience of Professor Mugenda. I want to congratulate her for this appointment. And I want also to congratulate the BOT for a very wise and deserving choice. And as you have heard, ladies and gentlemen, she has a lot of value to add, because we have seen what she has done wherever she has been, and we are all excited that we are also going to benefit from that experience and also the goodies that come with that experience. Olive, I would like to congratulate you for coming to KCA University. I know a little bit about KCA University because I have been with it for as long as 10 to even 12 years, because I came here when the issue of the university was not being discussed. But when people started talking about the university, I was with them, and some of them told me that you are teaching at a university, let us draw on your experience and knowledge on how we can proceed to constitute a university. And I said, if you have faith in me, okay, I'll make my contribution, and we worked together with those people. On the occasion of preparing to go home, having established or participated in the establishment of this university, I would like to appreciate the efforts of all those with whom I walked the long journey of going to government regulatory agencies and other places in order to found a university. And I would like to recognize a few people in name, but without prejudice to those that I will not mention. Martin Odwori Noah was with us, and we worked together to found this university. John Chekeu, I think he's around, was with us, and we worked together. He brought in a lot of experience from the financial resources side and point of view. And then we had a lady called Nelly Ngigi, who was actually our chairman, the chairman of the accountancy college, who was leading us in these discussions and quest for the status of a university. I want to mention that lady. I have not seen her for long, but I'm very sure wherever she is, we want the hand of God to touch her because of what she did. She played a very critical role. To sum up on those two, I mentioned other two. Actually, our first Vice Chancellor was a gentleman by the name of Musungu Oroch. Dan Musungu Oroch. He was our first Vice Chancellor and was assisted by a deputy, a lady who has proceeded on to be with the Lord, Rosemary Minor. I think many of us might have transacted with Rosemary Minor. Those two worked very industriously. And I would like to say, even if it may not ruffle feathers, that when you create a hall of fame in this university, and you inscribe some recognizable names on some wall or some scroll, please do not forget Mama University, Rosemary Minor, and Baba University, Dan Oroch, Professor. You can safely leave out my name because I did not work as hard as they did. But those two, I plead and appeal to you. Find somewhere, even in some footnote, a mention of those two plus those others that I have mentioned. And I want to say thank you very much to the others that I have not mentioned. I am told I still have a function to complete my exit in the evening. That is where I will also mention. the other people. Now, let me come to my last point of saying kwaheri. It is a very sad thing to say kwaheri and lose the kind of friends that I've made in this place, but time has come to go. This succession has been succession in accordance with the law of this country and in accordance with the charter that we were given as a university. And there is no qualms about it. When the law says this KCA University listens and it must comply, we are creating a people that comply with the requirements of the law, and we are doing it by example. So welcome, Professor Mugenda. The law has said Eshwani should go home and Professor Mugenda should come in. And she has come in rightly, and of course she's qualified, as you have heard, and she will serve in accordance with the law, but with that little exception that I mentioned, that this is a private university. Yes, the law says you are a titular chancellor, but please find time to go deeper a little bit without being discovered that you are exceeding the limits of the law, in order to end up being pragmatic and doing the right thing that should be done for this university. In my saying kwaheri, I must surely honor and respect the BOT. They are the people who appoint chancellors in this university. And they appointed me. Of course, I started by default when the BOT was not yet in existence, and by default I became a chancellor. But when we were given the charter, they formalized. And so I was properly appointed, and therefore let no one rush to court tomorrow and say there is a man there who was acting without authority. So the Board of Trustees, I want to thank you for having given me support throughout this period, even endorsing what I have done during the default period. It enabled me to have legal strength as well as any other form of strength to work together with the management of this university. The alumni of this university, I am so proud of you, Mr. Chairman, Wanamkundi. I want these people to know that when you heard I was going away last year, you threw a dinner for me somewhere in Westlands, and it was sumptuous. So I want to say thank you for honoring me on that occasion, and you have done a wonderful job of putting together an alumni association at the same time the university itself was being put together on all foundations. I wish you well, and please travel around in order to benchmark what alumni associations out there are doing for their universities. I was a student at UC Berkeley, University of California at Berkeley. They still pursue me now to contribute, and yet those are Americans who are very rich. And I'm obliged to contribute to my alumni association. So if we can do that out there, there is every need for you to make sure that you pursue those people that have had their degrees and certificates from here to contribute to this university. The students, thank you very much for supporting me, and as I said earlier, I never had any unpalatable situation from the students. Instead, you escorted me to my little car, and when I went away, you waved at me, and I want to say thank you very much, because it gave me courage and strength to come back. Of course, I can't fail to thank the academic team of this university. As pioneers, you have actually given strength and sense to the academic direction of this university. There is so much that can be said, but I don't have time to say except to say thank you for studying strong, studying hard, and giving our students comparable knowledge they will get in any other good university in the world. Congratulations for putting KCA, because we have already started being rated, not at the bottom, but at the top. Congratulations, the academic staff. There is a person I would like to mention, and she was my personal assistant. KCA gave her to me to be my personal assistant, and it has not been very comfortable for her, because at my age and stage, I'm very confused. She tells me something that Mr. Chancellor, a meeting is starting at such a time, and I forget immediately after she has told me. She has to be patient to remind me a lot. I go to the meeting, I have forgotten my notes, she has to rush there. Liz Wachira. Wherever you are, thank you. Liz Wachira is a very patient person. If she put up with me for more than 1 year, surely, she deserves to become a Moran of Kenya of some kind. I'm saying from the bottom of my heart, thank you for putting up with me and guiding me, because if I did anything right in this university, her contribution cannot be downplayed. She had contributed to remind me what I said last time and what I'm supposed to say. As I wish KCA University the very best, me I'll go home. I think God is good to me all the time. I will enjoy my retirement. Amen. But I want to wish this university the very best. It will make me so happy wherever I'll be to hear that we are now #1 and we have remained #1. Of course, my colleagues don't feel bad when I say we shall remain #1, because we also want to remain #1. But it will be good competition. I want to wish KCA success in every endeavor. And my parting statement is the one which I picked from the recent funeral of our second president that we had. It looks like out of political process. The late President Moi had an occasion at one time to say, if I wronged anyone, forgive me. And I'm saying the same. If you wronged me, I have forgiven you. Yes, in human engineering, quarrels, disagreements are inevitable. In fact, they are the source of strength for that engineering. But it is good to forgive and to proceed. I wish everyone present the very best. May God bless this nation and also bless this university. KCA, thank you.
I will invite the Board of Trustees Chairperson, FCPA Michael Wawel.
The outgoing Chancellor, Professor Arthur Shiwani, the incoming Chancellor, Professor Olive Mugenda, the Chairperson and members of ISPAC present, members of the Board of Trustees, the Chairman and members of KCA Council, the Vice Chancellor and members of staff of the university, visiting Chancellors and Vice Chancellors of other universities and other dignitaries present, students, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I've been asked to say a few words about Professor Shiwani, and I wish to begin by telling him the running theme in his speech was that he is going home. And I can tell him from my experience, you are not going home, Professor. I started going home in 2002. My home is just here in Moya, and I'm still here. Somewhere along the way, I was made to defect to Kenya Revenue Authority. I was there for 9 years. Then I retired. I was given a grand retirement party by none other than the third president of the republic. And then I find myself, I'm still here. I have not gone home. So Professor, forget about going home. You will be with us in whatever other capacity you will be. Professor Ishiwani joined the Kenya College of Accountancy, the training arm of ISPAC, as a founding member of the board of directors. His appointment came in recognition of his contribution as a legal resource person to the accounting profession in the country from 1977. His presence on the board made KCA a prototype institution for application of corporate governance in Kenya. And you have heard from the Chancellor of Kenyatta University that he actually did teach several people corporate governance. In 2007, when KCA University received a letter of interim authority, Professor Ishiwani became its founding chancellor. On 1st March 2013, when KCA was awarded the charter by His Excellency President Mwai Kibaki, his position was further emphasized and strengthened. During his tenure as University Chancellor, Professor Ishiwani has conferred and awarded over 20,000 graduates with various degrees and certificates in various fields. Some of his key milestones that during his leadership are collaborating with universities locally and internationally with the aim of expanding academic growth and opportunities among faculty and students. He also was involved in the launch of Research and Extension Unit to encourage research and publication among faculty, students, and academicians. The construction of the ultra-modern tuition complex at the main campus, that is where we are now. The launch of ultra-modern library, the Martin Udul Library, also at the main campus. Launch of the Chancellor's Scholarship Award to support bright and needy students to access quality education. Expansion of the university by opening satellite campuses in town, that's the city of Nairobi, Kitengela, and Kisumu. Launch of KCA University Endowment to support more student scholarships. Ranking of KCA University as best private university in employability by the British Council. Increase in enrollment numbers of students, including government-sponsored ones. Launch of student engagement program to expose students to industry expectations while studying. Launch of the Center for Faculty Excellence. Launch of the Center for Career Planning and Placement. Professor, many will remember your profound speeches and messages as you have just delivered. In your soft but firm voice, you are a regular visitor at KCA University and have indeed contributed immensely to what KCA University is today, a premier business university of choice. At personal level, I met Professor Ishiwani in the 1990s while on a consultancy assignment. I was then a senior partner in the firm of Ernst & Young. Later, we had the opportunity to work closely together when I joined ISPAC Council, and 2 years after that as its chairman. Professor is an outstanding professional in the field of law and leadership. He is very knowledgeable, conscientious, and diligent. As Professor's term as Chancellor comes to an end, we are well prepared to carry on his vision to the next level through the University Strategic Plan 2019 to 2023, particularly through collaboration and partnership with all stakeholders. We are very proud of you and your 30 years of service to KCA University. Congratulations, Professor. Thank you very much for the service you have provided. In ending my remarks, I wish everyone here a wonderful time. God bless Kenya. God bless KCA University.
I will kindly request FCPA Michael Avero to
still step forward for the next session, where we'll have presentation of the Distinguished Service Award to Professor Hadha Eshwani. Thank you very much. You may be seated, please. Ladies and gentlemen, our university choir has composed a piece of entertainment entitled Asante Chancellor Eshwani.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we are back. The best in Eastern Central Africa. So we want to invite Professor Eshwani, kindly come and make your last dance with KCA University. Mpigie makofi akikuja. Yeah, we heard that you are a good dancer. As you are going home, we want to sing to you a very beautiful song. Karibuni sana.
Asante, asante, asante Chancellor Abba. Asante, asante, asante Professor Abba. Asante, asante, asante Chancellor Abba. Asante, asante, asante Professor Abba. Tukushukuru, tukushukuru kwa kazi yako njema. Tukushukuru, tukushukuru kwa kazi yako njema.
So, Chancellor, we thank you so much for the chance that you have given us to make our dreams come true and every development that you have brought unto us. Tunashukuru pia kwa ile maendeleo ambayo umeleta kufanya KCA kuwa a better place to be. Tunashukuru sana pia kwa zile courses ambazo umeongeza, BFP, ICT, zote ni wewe ulileta. Na hivi sasa hata sababu unaenda jua we as KCA students tutaishi kukupenda. Shukran.
Tukushukuru kwa kazi yako njema. Tukushukuru kwa kazi yako njema. Hadha Eshwani, Mungu akubariki, akupe maisha mema. Mungu akubariki. Hadha Eshwani, Mungu akubariki. Nakupenda Eshwani, Mungu akubariki. Nakupenda Eshwani, Mungu akubariki. Asante, asante, asante Chancellor Hadha. Asante, asante, asante Professor Hadha. Tukushukuru kwa kazi yako njema. Tukushukuru kwa kazi yako njema.
As I had alluded earlier, dear members, this is the point. We are going to have the installation of the incoming Chancellor, Professor Mugenda. At this point in time, I will kindly request the Investiture party to step forward and assume the designated seats. FCBA, Michael Warren, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Noah Midaba, the incoming Chancellor, Professor Olive Mugenda, and the outgoing Chancellor, Professor Ada Eshiwani. You may be seated. Thank you very much. I now invite the BOT Chairperson, FCPA, Michael Morero, to read the declaration statement.
I hereby announce the appointment of Professor Olive Mugenda as the second Chancellor of KCA University. On behalf of KCA's University, staff, students, alumni, friends, and supporters present here today, I welcome you. Please rise. Do you undertake to accept the appointment of KCA University Chancellor?
Yes, I do.
I now invite Professor Olubai to read the citation.
I think we should all say, okay, you are the youngsters, scream. There must be some young people here. Scream, it's on Facebook. Members of the board of ISPAC, members of the board of trustees, members of the University Council, Chancellor representing all Chancellors, Dr. Wairegi, Vice Chancellor Professor Bidamba, Vice Chancellor Professor Bagakas, the head of all our universities, CEO of the Commission for University Education, the man in charge of giving money to all our students, Mr. Ngera, CPA Ngera, who is also a member of council, all my colleagues in the council, the Alumni Association, headed by Bernard Mukundi, the Students' Council, SACU, headed by Peter Mutua, all invited guests. It's my distinct honor to have this very humble opportunity to read a citation that does not need to be read, because you all know it already. But then, as you all know, if you are Muslims, you go to the mosque on Fridays to hear what you already heard last week. And if you're a Christian, you go to church either on Saturday if you are SDA, or on Sunday like the rest of us to hear what you heard last week and when you were a child. Because that's what it means to be human. The joy of ceremony, the inspiration of ceremony. May I ask all of you to stand up to honor this moment, and also to honor your biology. Human beings were not designed by nature and God to be continually seated. The person that we welcome today as the new Chancellor, Professor Olive M. Mugenda, takes over, as you have heard and seen, from an equally able citizen of this country and co-founder of the university, Professor Eshiwani. So I'll begin by saying thank you very much, Professor Eshiwani, and then welcome Professor Olive Mugenda. And it's my duty and responsibility to read through this citation. And as you stand, if you wish to sit, please feel free to sit. If you wish to remain standing, in order to thank biology, please continue standing. Professor Olive Mugenda is currently the Honorable Commissioner in our Judicial Service Commission. She is also currently the Chairperson of the Board of Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research University. Historically, she's the first woman ever to become a Chancellor or a Vice Chancellor or President of any university in East Africa. And so we are standing in front of history. And for young students, please make sure you shake her hand. It's not often that you touch history. I'll mention a little bit about Professor Mugenda's education, and please note that this book is an abbreviation from a CV that is over 35 pages long, and so there was a big struggle to see what to cut out so that we catch a little bit of a core. But again, like I said, if you feel like sitting, please have the freedom to sit, but I would like most of you to keep standing. I'm a biologist, and I'm quite aware of the dangers of continual sitting. Professor Olive Mugenda, whom we invite to join us today and to celebrate, was born and raised not too far from Nairobi in Kikuyu constituency. But she started her education in an extremely cold place called Timboroa. I hope you remember those temperatures. And from Timboroa, she joined the most prestigious girls' high school in our country, Alliance Girls High School. I'm sure the people at Alliance believe that. Kenyatta, the people at Kenya High may not. But that is our most prestigious girls' high school, and that's where she studied. And then from there, she went to the University of Nairobi, where she graduated with a first. It's when it's a true first class, they just say a first. Professor Mugenda then continued, after she got her first, to work as a graduate assistant at Kenyatta University, where she did great enough work that she was able to earn a scholarship to go to Iowa, where she studied for both her master's degree and her PhD. And then after that, she realized that it's not enough to be a pure academic, that you also need to understand business, because after all, notice what she really did was, besides major contributions in the academy, she then became a major national leader who actually helped build one of Kenya's major universities, one of Africa's major universities, Kenyatta University. So in that, along the way, she figured out she needed an MBA, so she's also a Master of Business Administration. For our young people who usually burn books after Form 4 thinking education has ended, please note that she did her MBA after the PhD. Her career in academia, after completing her PhD in Iowa, she could have chosen to remain in Iowa, but we must all congratulate her for the choice to come back to this continent, because we have less PhDs than anybody else among the 6 settled continents. And her contributions here are historical. So we're very happy that she chose to come back. As a PhD, she would have chosen to remain. Later, Professor Mugenda became a lecturer specializing in women's education. Now notice what she chose to do in this case. She could have remained as a scholar of home economics, but because of the dramatic need for gender inclusion and scholarship in gender, she became an expert in women's education and also statistics and research methods. And part of her contribution has been to modernize and diversify curricula in those many fields, including both qualitative and quantitative research. In academic leadership, she's been a department head, she's been a dean of faculty, she's been a deputy vice chancellor for finance, planning and development, and she has been a vice chancellor. Professor Mugenda later rose through the ranks to head the institution, and you've heard about that many, many times. And before she left Kenyatta University, she also made sure that she leaves what for the ordinary Kenyan will be one of the second major contributions besides the building of a major university, and that is the building of a major hospital, where she's chair of the board. The 2 major books that I will mention among many scholarly contributions a work on research methods, quantitative, qualitative, and mixed method approaches. The third edition came out in 2019, and as a partner to that one book, she's also written a dictionary of research methods. And much more recently, Professor Olive Mugenda wrote Building Blocks for Institutional Transformation, basically making open the secret of how do you build a great university, talking about her life and how she, and the work she did with many of her colleagues, many of whom are here, building Kenyatta University into the international star that it is today. Switching to the next part of her awards, of her achievements, awards and international appointments. Professor Mugenda has received various distinguished awards for exemplary performance over the years. 1, the Ernest and Young Lifetime Achievement Award. 2, she's a CBS, Chief of the Order of the Burning Spear. Next, she is an EBS, she's an Elder of the Burning Spear. In February 2016, she was also honored by the French government with the Order of Academic Palms, which is a national order in France. In the year 2008, she was also awarded the Iowa State University Distinguished Alumni Award as an alumnus, sorry, that's a bit of confusion of Latin. Not an alumnus, as we might think, but as an alumna, who then went to do great work reflecting the education that she got at Iowa. She was also later awarded the Esami Meritorious Award for exemplary performance. Other appointments: in 2013, Professor Olive Mugenda was appointed chairperson of the Council of the Association of All Commonwealth Universities. The association is the oldest network of all universities in the world, and yet it has over 500 universities. She chaired that. So once again, young people, please study history when you have a chance. Her other professional experiences in the private sector include being, number 1, founder and director of the Center for Innovative Leadership and Governance, CLIG, which is based in Nairobi, and which is involved in training university leaders, training other leaders. 2, she's a non-executive director of a bank, UBA Bank. And 3, she's a member of the steering committee of Young African Leadership Initiative, YALI. While doing all of these things, for women who are worried that becoming as smart as professor may take you away from being a human being, she's also a mother. Professor Mugenda is blessed with 3 grown children. 4 grown children: Gitau, Chris, Angela, and Linda. Today, we're greatly honored to witness the installation of Professor Mugenda. So I will close by saying, Professor Mugenda, thank you very much for accepting this position, and to the whole community of KCA University, congratulations for such a wise choice. And all young people, please touch history. Let me begin by touching.
Thank you, Professor Ubai. Could the outgoing Chancellor join me? I now invite Professor Olive Mugenda to step forward for robing. She will don the ceremonial robe of Chancellor and receive a copy of the KCA University Charter, the university logo, the university flag, which together represent the powers held by the Chancellor of KCA University.
Now, at this particular point, the robing will be done by the outgoing Chancellor, Professor Ada Ishwani, and the Vice Chancellor, Professor Noah Bidaba, assisted by Dr. Priscilla continue with the investiture process, and I'll invite the University Legal Counsel to come and present the instruments of the office of the Chancellor to the outgoing Chancellor as a symbol of assumption of the office of the Council. Ladies and gentlemen, that is a KCA University Charter, the legal document according KCA University founded as an accredited university to operate in the Republic of Kenya. Second, we have the university logo. This is our brand. This is the for whom we have at the KCA University. There follows the KCA University flag. This is a symbol of our existence, and we do not shy to flag it out any particular event. Thank you very much. I now invite FCPA Michael Waweru to proclaim the installation statement.
By these acts and in accordance with the Charter and Statute of the KCA University, I install you as the second Chancellor of KCA University and call you formally to assume office.
At this particular point now, I request the legal counsel to guide the Chancellor KCA University, Professor Olive Mugenda, to sign the Chancellor's roll.
The Chairman, Board of Trustees, Mr. Michael Awero, ISPAC Chairperson, and Council members, the BOT members, former and current, the outgoing Chancellor, Professor Shiwani, Chancellor representing other Chancellors, Dr. Benson Wairegi, KCA Chairman, Mike Eldon, and members of the Council, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Noah Idaba, Vice Chancellors from other universities, members of the Management, Board and University Senate, Chairman, Alumni Association and members, students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Before I make my remarks, let me, first of all, introduce my family who are able to come. And Chris, who I think has stepped out. I also thank you, my close friends I see here, many of who are VCs. And if you don't mind, let me just mention a few of them because I'm so honored that they are here. Luby. Professor Mlubi used to be my deputy in KU, but now a VC, very hardworking Vice Chancellor. I also see Professor Joka, a close friend of mine, VC Chuka. I see Professor, of course, I worked with him a lot in Kemu. I see Professor Mudoi, also another colleague, we worked together in KU for many years, also a VC. Professor Waderi, VC Mount Kenya University, another close friend of mine, we worked together many years in KU. And of course, CEO Hell, Charles Rigera, also a good friend of mine. And also Professor Monene from, I'm forgetting the, yes, Zintek University, another friend of mine. Professor Gravelia, also there, was my deputy in KU, still a deputy. Just also recognize my very able CEO at the hospital, Dr. Masasabi. And I don't know whether I've left anybody, but if I have, please forgive me. I just wanted to just make sure I mention your names because I'm so honored that you are here. And also, just so that we work together because of me mentioning that about the power of teamwork. Professor Waderi here is the one I appointed to start the Innovation Center at KU. And as we talk now, I think it has 200 companies. Is it 200? 200 companies. And that is a professor who did that. Professor Murubi as a DBC also was part of my team that transformed KU. So it was important that I mentioned them because they were part of that transformation. So when I was asked to do this job by the Board of Trustees, there are 3 reasons why I decided to accept. Number one, I just felt that it is important for me to also continue in the academia and make a contribution, share what I have, and make a difference. Number two, I'm even happy to come because when I listen to your wonderful choir, I remember the KU choir. So I'm a fan of choirs, so I'll be coming here to just listen to those songs. also another reason, of course, the respect I have for Mr. Wawero, Madam Maura, and your VC. When they ask me, I could just say no. So I also am happy to work with them. But another reason, you know, as you have heard, I'm really in busy offices, both in the JSC and also the hospital. And I wondered, I was asking Mr. Wawero, am I going to have the time? But then when I went to the dictionary and read the meaning of titular, head, and even if you check your phones, you can see the meaning. It says, it's titular head is one who holds a role without responsibility, without duties, or without functions. And with that, I thought maybe it's something I can do. But I've also listened to Professor Ishwani that I should just expect to be titular head, and I want to promise that I will do my best to do more than just do it. So I really would like to thank the university for this honor. I don't take it for granted. I know there are very many able women and men in the country and even outside who can do this job, but I really want to thank you. I'm proud to be associated with this institution, and from what I've heard, from what you have done before, I believe and I'm certain that you are going to do much more to make it even a better university. So I look forward to supporting you and working closely with you to steer the university towards another successful phase, taking over from Professor Ishwani. Because of time, I'll just pick one or two things from the book that I did on transformational leadership, and I called it Building Blocks. And I'll just pick a few of those blocks and just highlight them, and I'll leave several copies in the library so that you can also read it for yourself. So the first building block from my experience, and I hope that is what I can also bring here, is the whole question of transformational leadership. Very, very important, because it's a journey of discovery. And if you want to be a good university, then we all must be transformation leaders, leaders who are visionary, and leaders who are able to pull everybody together to do what needs to be done. I remember when I joined KU, and Professor Muluvi and others were in my team, Dr. Graveni and the others. And there's one lady I still remember, she's now a DVC somewhere else. We were so passionate about what we were doing, so passionate that if I called a meeting, a board meeting at 9 p.m. at night, I would get quorum, because people are just working. And I remember this lady came and told me, Professor, do you think we are going to die before we do what we want to do? Can you imagine that passion? So I remember telling her, no, we will not die. We will finish this work, and KU will be a great university. And I think we are able to do that. So leadership, we need to even train. So all of us, I remember KU, we even started training students on leadership so that they graduated with their degree, but also with a leadership certificate. Because I believe so strongly that wherever they go, that will be necessary. So that is one of the strong pillars. And the other one, and I'll just highlight a few. The other one is very, very well thought out policies and procedures. Again, I'm sure Professor Mugenda, you have done this, because you can't go far without good policies and procedures. People can't just do what they want. We must have those policies and procedures, efficient work plan, so that then we can meet our objectives. And the third one, and I've heard you have it already, is a strategic plan. I might want to just look at it and maybe give my input also, now that I'm one of you. Strategic plan. At KU, we have the experience. We came up with a 10-year strategic plan, and my colleagues are here, and they can witness that by the time we finished our 10 years, we had implemented 100% of that plan. Including the hospital now where I'm chairing, it was part of that plan. And we just have to be so, even as this university, very, very focused. Because Professor Muluvi, you remember when we did the plan, and we included the hospital, because from my networks, as a VC, I knew that some of the best universities are university hospitals. Some of the best hospitals are university hospitals. And I wanted to have one in KU. And then, so we put it in our plan. And the question everybody was asking was, where this hospital is 8 billion. The capitation at that time was 1.5 billion. So this hospital is almost 10 times more than the capitation. So where are we going to get the money from? At Professor, you remember, and Professor Gravenia, you were part of my team, I said, let us have it here. We will do for the money. And I'm glad to say that within, I think, 5 years we had the money, and we were able to put up the hospital. So there's no goal which is too big. You just need to dream about it, then you start working towards it, including this university, whatever goals you may have, don't feel that there's any goal that you cannot achieve. So the strategic plan is very, very important. I'm sure I'll go with a copy so I can start looking at what you have. The third or fourth point is another pillar, is investing in people. VC and the board, we have to invest in people, invest in your staff so that they are well trained, mentor them, because if you have a good staff, if you believe yes, if you believe in people, if you believe in people, if you invest in people, if you listen to them, and if you emphasize with them, then you are going to have results. Because it doesn't matter how good you are, but if you can't work with a good team, then you cannot get results. I always tell Dr. Wiregi, the Chancellor, that if the board, when I was in KU, was not supportive, and he was chairing that board, if that board did not support, including very, very ambitious ideas like the hospital. If I went to the board with the idea, they told me, this money is too much, where are you going to get it from? We can't commit the university. If that is the answer I got, we will not be having the hospital. But when I went to the board, chaired by Dr. Iregi, he said, Professor, that's a good idea. It's your work to do for the money. So if you get the money, go ahead. So believe in people, invest in people, and take advantage of the partnerships. That's maybe the fifth building block, partnerships. Again, I'm sure by Chancellor you know, and the board, that you can't again go far without partnerships. Partnerships and even networks. The reason why I knew even where to get how to go about convincing the government to give us the money for the hospital is because I had heard there's a grant or there is some money coming from, I think it was some money from China, but we had to apply for it through the government. So that is from a network, and we were able to pursue it to the end. Just before I left KU, colleagues know we built a very beautiful culture and international center. That center, to write a proposal to get that center, again is through network. A person who came the night before the proposal was due and told me, Professor, there's a proposal, there is this bidding for proposals for a good project, and it's due tomorrow. And you remember Professor Muruvi and others, we slept in my office writing the proposal, including myself. We are going home at 8 in the morning, and God is good that our proposal completed well and we got the money. And so the networks, we can't do without networks because they're the people with the information, they're the people with contacts, and this is what you need. You can't do it. You can't be an island. You can't do it on your own. Another block that is important that I would like to mention is rewarding performance. And I'm sure Professor Midipa, you're already doing this. It's always good to reward good performance. Because naturally what happens in the universities and other institutions, the good performers keep getting more work. So, and they keep working hard. At KU, just an example, we introduced what we called an extra mile award. An extra mile award. And it was so touching when we gave those extra mile awards to people who went the extra mile in addition to what they're supposed to do. And it was very gratifying when people came to me and said, Professor, I went the extra mile, but I never got an award. You know? So people already started knowing that they can go there extra mile. And when they came and told me that, I actually told them, go write to me and tell me the extra mile. And actually, if we felt that they got the extra mile, we give them an award, just to encourage them, because everybody needs encouragement. Madam Waura, you talked about resource mobilization, a key building block, because again, you can't do you may have all the good ideas, but can you implement without money? You must have the money, and we must look for the money, and not just look for the money, but make sure that also we have prudent use of those resources. So resource mobilization is something that I do, and I promise that I will also support you in looking for resources to do what you need to do. And lastly, lifelong learning. I know so many of us who did our MBAs, even when we were vice chancellors or deputy vice chancellors, just because we wanted to learn more, and honestly it adds value. So students and even staff who are here, don't be tired of getting that extra knowledge. Go for it. There's no edge to learning. So I would like to encourage you that because it always add value and you always get to learn more. And in fact, as a result of this, I decided when I left the university to start what I think the VC talked about, the clique. This is an outfit that trains and even mentors by chancellors. And I got a lot of support from colleagues who are here. I think most of them have attended that training in the US. And also we normally have one in Kenya and one in the US. And as part of this mentorship, I'm taking a group of 20 vice chancellors in April to the US for training. And I would like to invite a person from KCA to join us in that group. I'll give them the scholarship. But the VC will have to decide who that person will be. Because I don't know you. So vice chancellor and the board, please select one person. If they can get if they can get a visa in a month, they can join us. Other than, or you get a person with a visa. But I have so I would like to offer as a commitment to offer that what you can go. It's a very good training. Professor Joka has been there. The Muruvi has been there. It's a very good training and then even Professor Kon here, they have been there. Very good training. They talk about resource mobilization. They talk about research. They talk about just leadership, university leadership. They talk about innovation. Very good training, and I would like us to start on a good foot by me going with one of you. And as I said, Vice Chancellor select that, and the board select that person, and I'll be happy. So, also as part of my commitment today, we don't have a lot of time, so as part of my commitment today and supporting and promoting quality in higher education, I would like to donate 10 copies of my recent publication, The Research Methods book, that we co-authored with my late husband. And also, I would like to donate 10 copies of the Research Methods Dictionary. There's no word in research that is not in that dictionary. So if you want to really be good in research, I'll have those 10 copies in your library so that the staff and students can read it and sharpen their research skills. And I'll also give 10 copies of the Building Blocks for Institutional Transformation book so that you can also read for yourself some of the things I'm talking about. Lastly, when my family and I buried my late husband, we promised a scholarship for a student. So I'd like to offer that scholarship to a student from here. And again, I'll let the VC decide who that person will be. My husband was very passionate about statistics and research. So if we don't have to stick to that, because I know maybe there are other specializations. I'll let the VC select that person, and from September we are going to give that scholarship, my family and I. So finally, I just want to thank my family friends and colleagues, and thank all of you for the very, very good words you have talked about me. We thank God for giving me the strength and the vision and good people to work with. I can say here that if you don't have a team to work with, again you can't deliver. But I had a good team. Many of them went on to become vice chancellors. I think all my deputy vice chancellors became vice chancellors. I'm very proud of them. Professor Mugenda became a vice chancellor. Professor Rajab became a vice chancellor. Professor Muruvi here became a vice chancellor. So I had a very good team. And so we want to thank God. You know, it's good to pray all the time, because you may have all the good intentions, but then you may not have the good health or even a good team to work with. And also good boards. I'm sure the VC, you have good board, because again, without a good board, I keep repeating, again, you cannot go far. So I want to thank my family there, my children. They have been very, very supportive. Always cheering me on. And I don't know what I'll do without them. So thank you, Linda, Gitao, and Angela, and everybody. And once again, let me thank the leadership of this institution. I'll do my best to support you, so that I can also have a good farewell, the one you have seen for Professor Shwani here many years to come. So I would like now to present the book to the VC. God bless you, and thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the souvenir is an office organizer, an important, very crucial office accessory that now Professor has assumed the office shall be an important tool as she delivers her promises. Thank you very much, Professor. It also goes with an executive office pen, and as you shall see, the pen is inscribed Professor Olive Mugenda. Professor, karibu office. Asante sana, shukran. We also have friends of Professor Olive Mugenda who would also wish to appreciate her with gifts. Thank you.
Mine is to take this opportunity to bring our goodwill message to the newly installed Chancellor of KCA, Professor Mugenda. Wish her well, together with the KCA fraternity, and I want to assure you, you got the best and you will not regret. I've worked with her for a long time, but I can tell you one or two things. She's very hardworking, and she works twice what an ordinary person would do. So if you'll be working with her, you must be prepared to work even more. But she's very intelligent, she doesn't give up, and she gets things right. Thank you, and I wish you all Professor.
At this point, I'm going to invite the university choir to give us a piece of entertainment specifically tailored for Professor Mugenda.
Pigia makofi mpaka afike. Sasa ni muende. Let me be a gentleman. Oh, nimeshika Olive. Karibu sana. Yeah, you want someone to help you. Wakubwa. Tupende tulisikizana kuja na hata thao kwa mkono. Asante sana. Huyu pia. Hawa wote. Tafadhali karibuni. The dances are simple, so you just go with the flow. Or you can dance your own way, isn't it? Yes. Very good.
Tunasherehekea kiongozi wetu, chancellor wetu, Profesa Mugenda. Karibu nyumbani, KCA inakukaribisha nyumbani. Uongozi wako umeonekana kutoka mbali, mama mpenda wote. Karibu nyumbani, KCA inakukaribisha nyumbani. Sisi wanagenzi tamshukuru Mwenyezi Mungu kwa kutuleta kwetu. Profesa Mugenda, KCA inakukaribisha nyumbani. Umoja watu wote tu ndilo lengo letu. Umoja watu wote tu ndilo lengo letu. Huduma kwa watu wote ndilo lengo letu. Huduma kwa watu wote ndilo lengo letu. Umoja watu wote tu ndilo lengo letu. Umoja watu wote tu ndilo lengo letu. Huduma kwa watu wote ndilo lengo letu. Huduma kwa watu wote ndilo lengo letu. Kiongozi tunaye ni furaha, uyatumie madaraka kutuendeleza mbele. Kiongozi tunaye ni furaha, uyatumie madaraka kutuendeleza mbele. Oli Mugenda, twashukuru, twakukaribisha chuo chetu, utupeleke mbele. Oli Mugenda, twashukuru, twakukaribisha chuo chetu, utupeleke mbele. Utupeleke mbele.
Thank you very much, University Choir. Ladies and gentlemen, are we not blessed to have such a choir? Are we not blessed? We are. Thank you very much for such a strong show. Thank you very much for that. We are nearing the tail end of our ceremony today, and at this particular point, I will invite the Dean of Faculty, the Dean School of Business and Public Management, Dr. Ralston Muchiri, to pass a vote of thanks.
Members of ISPA Council, the Board of Trustees, both current and past, members of the University Council, Madam Chancellor, Professor Olive Mugenda, outgoing Chancellor, Professor Arthur Eshiwani, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Noah Midamba, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, Professor Joshua Bagakas, Vice Chancellors present, and our esteemed guests, alumni members, and members of Senate and Management Board, faculty, staff, and students, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
First and foremost, I'm grateful to the Almighty God for His grace that has enabled us to make this event happen. Many thanks to ISPA Council, led by the able FCPA Rosemary Moura. Our gratitude to the Board of Trustees, led by the passionate chair, FCPA Michael Wawero. We thank the University Council under the inspired leadership of Sir Mike Eldon, Madam Chancellor Professor Olive Mugenda. We thank you for accepting to work with us in this journey. To our outgoing Chancellor, Professor Arthur Eshiwani, we are most grateful for the source, for the wise counsel, humor, and advice that you have given to us over years. It has been a great inspiration for us all in this institution. I actually remember my first encounter with you as the chair of the Research and Extension Committee, and I got my first lesson in law, and that is the only one I got. I'm grateful. Thank you, Professor Noah Ochieng Midamba, for your charismatic leadership. Thank you, Professor Joshua Bagakas, Patricia Opande, Professor Simon Gige, and the entire organizing committee for the many hours of meticulous planning and great organization. We are proud of your work. Our alumni, led by our indefatigable chair, Mr. Bernard Mukundi, we thank you so much for your unrelenting support. I would like to thank all our distinguished guests, of the Vice Chancellors who came. Your presence made this event a success. Many thanks to our members of faculty, staff, and students. You are part of this success. The Master of Ceremony, I cannot forget you. Thank you for your good work. To you all I say, may God bless you and have a good evening.
Thank you very much, Dr. Muchiri. At this point, I will invite Reverend Manje Kariuki to give us a closing prayer.
Could we stand together as we pray and thank God for the fact He has been with us? Father, in Jesus' name, we do want to thank you for your presence that has been with us. We called upon your name when we started this inauguration ceremony. And Father, you have been with us all through. First, we want to thank you for the outgoing founding Chancellor, Professor Ada, for the good work that he has done in this institution for the last 7 years. Thank you for his selfless dedication and commitment, even to where this university has come to today. Thank you, my Father, for his life and dedication. And even as he proceeds for retirement, may you be with him, Lord. Give him good health, Lord, and that you continue to share his experience and knowledge for many years with many other institutions. Bless him as you bless his family. Thank you for the incoming Chancellor, Professor Olive Mugenda. And Lord, thank you for bringing her even at a time like this. May you use her for your own glory. Thank you for the many experiences that she has gone through. Thank you, Father, for her academic leadership and even development that she has achieved where she used to serve. We pray that you be a blessing to this institution. We know by her own power she cannot make it. But Lord, you are going to redouble even her strength, even as she starts working and steering forward this institution to greater heights of prosperity. And Lord, that even that she will be a source of blessing to the administration as they hold their hands together even to move this college forward. We commit the students. May you bless them, Lord, that even as they leave this institution, they will live being equipped even to serve this nation and even the world at large. Thank you, King of Kings. And so, Father, thank you for all them that attended this ceremony. Bless each one of them, Lord. And Lord, even as we come to the end of our time together, may you go with each one of us. May your blessing go before each of us, my Father. As we travel to our various homes, may you go before us. And now, may the Lord bless you. May the Lord keep you. May his face shine upon you and scatter the darkness from before your path. And the blessing of God Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be upon you now and forevermore. Amen.
Acting on the powers conferred me by the KCA University Charter, I now declare this congregation dissolved.